makes phone calls for auto dealerships. Well, I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. So lots of glory to be won, and tons of YC company. So some standing on the bench. Are there any questions or requests for demos? Any sources of confusion? Going once, going twice. Anyone need extra time? Requests for the audience? We're all good to go? Okay. Okay, in that case, leading us off is App Builder by Zhengshun Wu. We are exploring the UI and user experience of web app development. Let's hear it for App Builder.
So in this hackathon today, I just came up with this idea of I want to build an interactive tool to very quickly deploy any source or any idea to a web app, because I personally have many different small apps that I can build, but I just want to transform that to reality. And so the key insights of this project is we use an iterative. So there are many different UI UX, and many people are building this, fully in browser, CodeGen, which is actually pretty reasonable and a good alternative to Figma or something. And or you have this Devin or other code tool which they also have a front end, but majority works completely done autonomously. Yeah. But I personally think I'm a developer, so I personally just take a developer-centric approach. So whatever good for me, I would take it, otherwise I don't. So turns out I just built a clay tool, but it's interactive, so which means lots of decisions still be made by myself, a developer, and I collect lots of resources. I get the API key instead of let the agent do the work, but the redundant works are delegated to the agent. It's not even an agent; it's just a clay tool. So the good thing of the consequences of this decision of the system is there are two things. The first is it significantly actually reduces. This is the kind of the insight I get today by just implementing. So this thing is only like 3 hours work. So there are many things that can be iterated upon. But a small insight I have is so it's basically it can significantly reduce the cost of hitting extremely expensive API from foundational model by just providing a little bit of information from developer about the code base or about external resources. And second consequence is the code developed with this approach naturally will document it, and then it basically form a curable knowledge base naturally. What that means is basically we would be able to generate code for each code reflector or update, just like we do in our daily works. We put very small patch of changes, but each change will generate new text summarization. And then when we have a new request, we would use the labeling of the old code to efficiently curate all the code components conservatively, which means we don't want to exclude something that the agents need, but we don't provide. And then we just feed the minimal convex pool of this code. It's stupid word, but it's like we just feed the absolutely smallest necessary code to the agent instead of feeding huge amount of code.
Can you show the interactive process?
Yeah, okay. So now it's like the shitty part because it's just 3 hours work, but I can see some future improvements. It's like there's like lots of future improvements. So yeah, so okay, so now this is how it looks like. It's very small, and basically, so it just allow you to do these things. So I can create an app, but of course I can cheat by create a simple app. Or do you guys want to challenge it? But yeah, I mean, just create a app. And anyone have an idea of the web app that is reasonable?
Web simulator. Sorry, JK.
Yeah, that's impossible to build. Yeah, but it's actually possible to build. Everything is possible to build given enough time, but it's not impossible to build here. But I guess I can just.
Creating AI for thought website.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
For-
if I'm
for-
going to do it, good.
for advertising hackathons,
like for
hackathons.
like yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the hackathon. Yeah, sure. But yeah. But it won't really interesting, but it's not particularly interesting. But I guess yeah, it's just pretty slowly just doing this. Oh, I actually forgot to provide the. Yeah, so basically, yeah, another screen up with to just run this. So yes, yeah, I actually have some example, but I guess it will override this A because I forgot to provide this project name, but yeah. So the project name would be A, but it will override this hopefully. Haven't tried it, but yeah, I guess the idea is just it help you more efficiently looking at it. But it hasn't really finished. So
What is it doing in the background here?
yeah, it's,
Yeah, can you show the code?
yeah. So it is basically just oh, why should I share this? Okay. Yeah, so it really just doing like very simple stuff. So the idea is just create a something
Font structure.
yeah, it just create a folder automatically and then it basically just pass the query to send to it's pretty simple. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, I probably have to. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. But it's not much information for this type of app. So, but I think one thing I can show the iterative nature is like to track the properties of word.
Do you have like a sample of something that you made before, like with this, that we can see? Any app that
Yeah.
part of it?
I can try this. Track like probably time difference or something across like different country. Yeah. I think this would work. But yeah. Yeah. So it's just like iterative because you basically just it will work, but yeah. So it's just creating a public hasn't really finished. But I guess I don't have time now. But yeah, it's pretty slow. Yeah. Okay. So thanks, Freddie. Yeah. So.
Can you show one of the previous projects, or did the AI for thought project work?
Oh yeah. I just so the iterative approach is really just so. Oh okay. Okay. Finally. Yeah. I should be able to just. No, I have that. But I guess. Oh, this is actually bad. Yeah, so it probably won't work. I guess yeah. So yeah, so it's not work. So which is good, right? So we can request a change. So because project ID is the project test. So this is the key component. And then like I needed is force. And then basically request job.
Hey guys, if you want to talk and answer these questions. I see. So you like iterate with those.
Yeah, and so basically just kind of iterate and build more and more features by different commits. So each of these will create a new commit, and and so but it's just so but I have another maybe things and show.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alfred. Nice. Any question for one question? Cool, okay. Okay, up is Mindstorms, collaborative real-time discourse with the hive mind. On deck, research automation.
Let's do this.
Right. Hello everyone. So we are Team Mindstorms, short for Hive Mind plus Brainstorm. So collaborative real-time discourse with a Hive Mind. Also, this is our first hackathon as brothers. So shout out. So we really wanted to focus on the social layer, and cognitive integration with a large group is challenging. There's a lot of social media out there, but can you actually connect with so many people at once? And so we thought of making a hive mind for this hackathon. What if we could directly talk to a collective intelligence of an ongoing discourse in real time? So that's kind of the problem we want to tackle. And this discourse should kind of self-organize and summarize in real time so that the users and people who interact with the discourse are guided in a way that favors the discourse. Okay, so this is kind of an overview of what we build. So essentially the user is always only chatting with the hive mind directly, and multiple users are simultaneously chatting with the hive mind. When the user is chatting, it's essentially just feels like a regular chat, but on the background, it's actually pulling it's pulling the current state of the discourse from the server, and then integrating that into their local conversation so that they are able to effectively contribute to the discourse. And then every few messages, updates are broadcasted to the hive mind.
So if everyone could if you're already on the AGI House Wi-Fi, then awesome. But if everyone could join the Wi-Fi and either scan the QR code or go to this URL, we have a demo and it's interactive. So we'd love if everyone could join in.
So we're gonna be a hive mind right here, and the topic of the debate is who is hotter, Donald Trump or Elon Musk?
I'm sure everyone has some really strong opinions for this one. So yeah, wait, I'll just So we'll be back shortly. Yes.
All right.
Hopefully everyone who's managed to get on this page sees a chat interface and can chat with it. Did everyone get it? All right, awesome.
Cool.
So, all right, so
This is a live dashboard of the current state of everyone's conversations, and remember that you're chatting with the conversation as a whole, so it's using insights from what other people said to guide the debate.
So as you put forth your opinions, it's actually submitting them up to the hive mind, and the follow-up questions that it's asking could have other people's opinions which challenge yours, and we'll incorporate that into the discourse that it's having with you. So in a way, all of you guys are having discourse with each other. You guys are debating with each other through this hive mind. And over here we have a dashboard where you can see the current state of the discourse. So someone suggested that Donald Trump is hotter due to presumably higher food consumption. That is probably true. On that side, he's generally considered hotter based on overall opinions. The specifics not cited. Someone did not cite their reasons, which was humorous mentions Britney Spears' proficiency. Oop. So yeah, as you can see, the dashboard's constantly updating, trying to reorganize the information that everyone submitted. We actually have not tried this with as many people as we are participating right now. So kind of fingers crossed that I think it's working.
So every 30 seconds an LLM is looking at the whole conversation and then outputting its.
Yeah, so it's collecting insights from what different people said and then integrating that into like the full discourse that you see here, and then essentially sharing like the relevant snippets to each person's chat so that they're able to like continue the conversation.
Oh wow, I see.
All right.
Okay, yeah, so this was the demo.
This was the demo.
Yeah, thank you for participating.
Nice. Okay, cool. So I think we can go back to the slides. All right.
Can we get confirmation? Like, is this stuff accurate? Did someone call them assholes?
Yeah.
It's a diversion about pasta. I said pasta.
All right. Someone said Orange Man Hot. Who was that? Please raise your hand. Okay, you didn't have to. You didn't want to, but glad you did. And
But who's hotter than both contenders?
king of meme magic on Twitter, surpassing even Elon Musk. Trump's not even on Twitter anymore. What are you guys saying? All right, I'm gonna go
It's
back
not
to.
even Twitter anymore.
Oh, so true. That one. All right. So yeah. So what are the benefits of this kind of discourse? So first one is that you engage with a real-time distillation of the discourse instead of individuals. So you get like a more collective, unbiased. Like you don't engage with people at a personal level. So there's no ad hominem or interpersonal grievances. Like no one on the internet's gonna like have a grudge against you or like start like I don't know saying mean things to you. It could be anonymized, so like people could participate in this discourse and not reveal identity, which for better or worse, that could be pretty big. Dashboard could cite opinions and points, and it estimates the global stance. So if you go back to the dashboard, you might have missed this, but it's kind of trying to say who's winning. Well, this is like a pretty experimental feature, but most of you thought that Elon Musk is generally hotter, which yeah, I see it. Yeah, so what's in this for the future?
So this kind of platform could be used for collective brainstorming, debating, or discourse at any level. This would be really useful if a group is trying to reach a certain outcome, but instead of like brainstorming and one person speaking, like everyone could just collectively talk about this. Another idea is to use knowledge graphs to suggest unexplored nodes and like discover new areas that are relevant to the debate or conversation. And right now we're kind of using prompt engineering to just guide the discourse into new areas. Yeah, blockchain. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, yeah. Thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed our demo.
Any questions?
Sure. I'm a big fan of kind of collective intelligence technologies. I'm wondering what you're thinking in terms of like supporting the collective in kind of what you were starting to hint at a little bit about exploring or reaching consensus or positive futures as a global kind of hive mind rather than mere distillation.
Right. So that could be things like you could incorporate like polls and like ask people whether they're for or against at some point in time, just like a simple yes/no vote, and like send the results of that poll out to everyone for it to see. So things like that could help reach consensus. It also it provides some kind of moderation so that we could like, for example, into a system like this, you could like check for misinformation, like through like if someone's just like making up their own facts to go along with their like opinions. Like it could call them out for that and not publish their opinions to the dashboard if it's like truly like misinformation. So things like this could help reach consensus. And also like the internet's like not a nice place. People are like like ad hominem, like people like calling each other like mean things. That might be mitigated through this because you're instead just talking to like an AI. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, no, hive mind alignment is going to be a big problem in the future. So I mean, something like this should be open sourced for sure. And it should be programmed to promote healthy discourse.
Do you have any thoughts on generative democracy, or generally speaking, like replacing policy decisions with like large-scale real-time interaction with people who are experiencing policy?
Yeah, I mean, this could be huge for politics because I think the asynchronous nature of this is really important. You don't need to get people in the same room. It can be different groups of people at different times talking about things, and you're kind of relying on the language and reasoning abilities of LLMs to like guide conversation and discover new trends in people's values.
It's like a nice version or an update of like Polis and Audrey Tang's work in
Mhm.
the past.
Yeah, and I mean, you're only considering like the open-ended ones, but like what if, I mean, I don't know if you've thought about using this for like education or something where you already know like what's the, knowledge or whatever you want to
Mhm.
explore.
Yeah.
Like you could,
Yeah.
I don't know, teach people.
Yeah, you could put like a textbook into the context of the LLM, and then it would be like an expert to moderate debate on that topic, for example, like fine-tune
It's
models.
just like the whole class
Yeah.
learns
Yeah.
while like, I don't know, they just chat about it or something.
Yeah, like so there's kind of two things, like one is like a discourse with an objective and then one is without.
Yeah.
So in the case where it's without, there could be a lot of creative use cases where people could collaboratively create like a new script for a movie or something, or just like play games. So yeah, that's another aspect as well. Great, yeah, thank you.
Okay, research automation is up. Today I learned, Rhonda.
But no laptop, right?
It's like with results, I think. Okay. We are research automation, and the idea is to pass some quality of thinking about data onto large language models. And so, TJ and I produced at the end of the day this research paper which involves the prediction of whether or not you would be accepted to the hackathon or not. So I threw the data set into a research agent that we developed, which produced really glorious figures like this one. So like actual versus predicted classes on who would be approved, who can go, who would be invited, who would be pending. And in this case, the logistic regression model had this sort of confusion matrix, and the AI, attempted to do novel research. So in my mind, this is kind of crazy, but it's basically like one of the very early examples of AIs that are trying to become scientists or are trying to do research. And as you can see, it ended up choosing, a relatively degenerate prediction. So to sort of like look under the covers, you can see this basic research agent is calling a code interpreter, which is doing code generation. And what we did is we fed it the data set for the AI for Thought Hackathon and a relatively simple prompt. We asked it to choose one column to predict from the rest. We didn't even really specify what the task would be, and just simply described like how to train a model on that particular prediction task. Asked it to report its accuracy and produce 4 insightful and compelling professional visualizations.
Can we increase it a little bit?
Sure.
Larger?
Yeah, for sure. Is that better? So this is a prompt to the model. This is the data source, and we can see the model basically looks through the data set, sees the RSVP dates, the emails, etc. Pre-processes the data, splits it into train validation, trains a logistic regression model to predict who will be in and who will be out. If you guys are going to talk, can you go downstairs? We'll evaluate the model's accuracy on the validation data set and create visualizations of results. And so the model basically does code generation for all of the above. It trains a logistic regression model with an accuracy of 32.84%. And then it evaluates the model, tries to create visualizations of a confusion matrix, bar chart, ROC curve, and coefficients of the logistic regression algorithm. And then it dumps a ton of content with details of the sort of image files that the agent has created. And we wrote some code to basically like grab these image files and put them in a place where they'd be accessible to a LaTeX generator so that we could create a report on the paper. So in this case, we basically had a pipeline. The pipeline piped the results into a paper generator. So basically all of the description of the research process and the research results went into a paper generator that added the visualizations as well as like descriptions of what actually happened to basically be able to write the abstract with, the accuracy of the performance, and it goes into the reasons for the potential poor performance of the machine learning model. And so, and part of the idea is like you can feed back and say, here's how you performed and perhaps why. So you can tell like the model in training its logistic regression algorithm predicts pending with perhaps like too large a fraction of predictions, something like it. Actual versus predicted is sort of visualized here. But it describes its encoding process, it describes how it splits the data set, it describes how it hyperparameter tunes. So it's a pretty comprehensive report on this generative research. Any thoughts or questions? Anything that?
Oh, I just want to add one thing, which is,
Yeah. So we created like 4 images that would just evaluate the generative paper, and then we tried to go further by creating like experimental data, or it would run, the AI agent would create an experiment and then create visualizations for that experiment, which is the part that I personally failed on. I figured that we would probably need to use multiple agents for that, but we didn't have time. So yeah, overall it's a pretty cool project. Initially started another hackathon.
Yeah, so I should say the agent also did an initial exploratory data analysis that wasn't based on the experiments that it generated. So this is its basically exploratory data analysis on how many people wanted +1s. It looked at missing values and created this visualization of what columns people tended to not fill in. This confusion matrix and the set of predicted classes, I believe you guys saw, but there are 2 other exploratory data analysis hits. So one is the trend of RSVPs over time. So you can see, spikes in, when people were trying to get in. This sort of huge spike a few days prior when I sent out a tweet about the event. And it also created this RSVP status distribution. So you can see the total number pending, total number invited, total number approved. Total number can't go, and then an error column, which I guess are nans or something like it.
Yeah, so going to the paper, so it's like, I don't know, a 20-page looking paper, and the model it trained is awful, right? It just does one thing. And so I can't read this right now, but I'm wondering, is this basically kind of, is it just doing the facsimile of what, like, modeling science, or does it have a sense as it goes through, like, oh, I clearly did a terrible job here?
Yeah, it's very self-critical. So it's like,
and it's just like very verbose.
We need to handle the pre-processing steps, including handling missing values and encoding categorical variables, into this training validation. Despite an initial accuracy of 32.4%, we developed the potential reasons for its performance.
So I just mean it's missing, like, that's chance, right? It's like.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about.
So it is actually pretty self-critical. So if you go into its reasoning for why it only produced 2 of 4 potential visualizations, it actually says. Sorry, let me finish with it. We can see that only the pending class has predictions, with all other classes having 0 precision and recall, which suggests a severe imbalance in the model's predictions. This model is heavily biased towards the pending class and doesn't provide valuable predictions for the other statuses. This is likely due to either the model's limitations, the feature space limitations, or class imbalance in the dataset. We should handle these issues before expecting reliable predictions across all classes. And as for the 4th visualization, we would typically show feature importances. However, since our model only has 1 feature +1s, oh, that explains that actually. The visualization would not be very insightful. The coefficients interpretation is straightforward. The higher the number of +1s, the more likely the status is pending. So the model is capable of explaining its failure modes and reflecting on them. And I guess we're definitely gonna put it in a loop and like have it improve its processes. Yeah.
So it seems like that it says that the accuracy is about like 32%. So I was wondering if the experimentation has been carried out, or is it just a number that the model, randomly like generated?
So yeah, that's what's interesting is that the number came out of a regression model which was trained by the model on the data set that it was given. So
And did it run it, like, does it like automatically trigger it, or do you have to like oversee that thing? Like the code came out, you ran it, and then it like takes back the input.
yeah, so it's close to end. It's not quite done yet, but
Yeah.
basically
I mean, at least it's
the
supposed to do
code
that.
generation and the code execution steps have no human in them.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So it is. So yeah, what we'd hope to demo is that it would be possible to basically go from like upload research data. So you choose a file, you enter your email, you click upload, and then it sends you the research paper. And the only reason we weren't able to finish is OpenAI versioning issues with the assistance API. So basically, our code uses like 1.7.1, and the newest version is and the version on the research gen server is 0.28. So we'd have to upgrade that whole server to like OpenAI version 1, which is a breaking change.
Is there like
Yeah.
a possibility for somebody to come in and like have more versions, or like just oversee that process, right? Like
We could totally put a human in the loop, but currently our intention is to see how far we can go with like data set plus prompt to paper. And yeah, I guess there's a huge space there, but like automate research to the reasons possible is the idea. Cool, thank you. Okay, that was research automation. Today I Learn is up. Autograph. You're on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, today I
What do you mean to work? Like it definitely works. The only question is like the late injection. Oh, the exploratory data analysis stuff.
Hi, so we are not close to where we wanted to be today, but we still have a functional demo. But just so that I want you guys to have the vision also from where this came, so I will show the inspiration first of our product. There's this person called Simon Wilson. He was originally the creator of Python's Django framework, and then for the last couple of months he's been dabbling quite deep into LLM, specifically for his own usage. And one of the things I've been following him do is he every day writes this thing called TIL, which is Today I Learned. And over time he has started linking documents one to the other and started using self-hosted local LLM to just embed his documents, find related documents, and started using that for, hey, okay, if I'm reading this, what else is there? So let's say he did embeddings, and then he searches it. So it will go through all of his actual notes, and it will find out what is related to that, and then it will also tell you what are the other things related to the notes he took, what are the other notes related to his notes, and you can search through it, right? So he built all of this custom for himself. I was trying to see if this can be created as a software service for all the people who want to. And I want to use this internally for my own team. That's the idea, like, hey, we are a remote team, you can share all the learnings you did today, and then I can just go and see what all you learned. Now, we're not close to where for that vision, for sure, but we have a base to start with, and that's what Esther will demo.
Yes, so we will have a Telegram bot that you will be able to enter whatever knowledge or things that you learned today. So you will start and initiate it, and then you will put down some notes that you probably learned today. And when you finish your notes, you will do end, and then it will spin up a web page. And then for the specific notes, and then also the related notes that you have previously write it down before using vector embedding. Yeah, that's a demo.
Wait, do that one more time. Oh, sorry. So I sent a message to a Telegram bot.
Yes.
And it creates a web page for me with a function of my notes that's automatically connected to the rest of my notes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
So the idea is like we.
you can show the code also where I send you the text in your embedding. You have the.
Oh.
So basically, what happens is the Telegram bot captures all your text messages. It stores in a DB. When you say end, we collect all the previous messages, send it. I think we use OpenAI to create embeddings.
Yes.
And then we store the embeddings in ADA for now. And then we just find, hey, give me recommendations for this piece of text. And then we just find the top 5 and then recommend that to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just display all of that on a web page. Right now it's a very simple interface, but the idea is over time you can have a better user interface to like find related documents or search around it. But 2 parts. One is, hey, we make it as simple as possible for you to like just add your thoughts on the go. The reasoning for Telegram right now was I didn't have to create a separate extension for Chrome or anything. It supports all the devices. I can spin up a web Telegram interface or on my phone, and I can upload any sort of media, right? Audio, video, text, or whatever. So for now, to start it off, it is supporting any device, any media, and then I can just start curating it and improve specific interfaces as and when I face the problems.
Yeah, so this is the thing you learned today, and this is the thing you learned before that is related to how you learn.
Can I see the inside of the Telegram bot? Like, how do you,
You see the code?
yeah, like,
Cool.
set up?
I don't have.
Is there you have the GitHub
Oh,
collaborative?
yeah.
Can you only send text right now, or can you even like send like a voice note or something? Right
It will not transcribe the voice note right now. Obviously, we can use Whisper or Alchemy or something to transcribe it and store that. But for now, just go to Vintage Player.
And I guess the question is like, is the Telegram stuff via Twilio or like how?
The Telegram has its
You have
own
to pay for it?
APIs.
Okay.
Who's this person?
Just go Vintage Player. That's my username.
I think the next step
Can you
will
do
be
it?
seeing
Sorry.
all the
No,
things
no,
you've
no.
searched during the day and then convert that into a TIL.
Yeah, I see. Or like rewind to TIL.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Basically, so when you say start, I'm just creating a DB record. It says, hey, this is the unique message ID. This is the user's ID, first name, last name. I'm just not storing it right now, and this is the date you created. Initialize with empty text. Then whenever you pass a text which is not end, I'm just adding it to the same document in my Postgres DB for now. And then when you say end, I just, hey, get me what is the last draft message, all of its text, mark it as completed. And then send that to RAG. And then here, we basically we create embeddings for that text, and then we insert it. And then whenever you want to get recommendations, you say, hey, this was the message ID, get me the recommendations for it. Right now we're saying top 2 recommendations. And then we just, for now, just display it on a simple web page. Obviously you want to improve the interface over time.
Interesting.
And the other idea is somewhere add gamification like Duolingo on top of this so that you get in the habit of actually doing it every day. But yeah.
So, Ian brings up a good point. What do you think about automated solutions like taking a photo of your screen every second or looking at your search history, your browser history?
I feel there'll be a lot of noise because a lot of times I do go through things, but it's useful or what's not useful is up to me. And I could be sitting all the time, and then let's say I'm watching some YouTube video, I'm talking to a friend, I'm doing Netflix. So you'll have to do a lot of PII stuff to like get that out and filter that out, and it adds complication for sure and computation power. This simplifies that, hey, if I want just something for team, it's here. If I want something for personal, it's here. If I want something for a group project, it's there. So you can have the same device, but you're storing some data just for yourself.
Could you, and I guess this is about the Telegram bot itself, but like, if you haven't stored something today at like 9 p.m., send you a message and just be like, hey, what did you learn today? Because you're right, like a big part of the TIL kind of thing is actually being intentional about thinking about it. And a lot of us, we're not doing it because of anything more than just not being prompted, you know?
Perfect, yes. So that's why I said something like Duolingo, where you get a prompt just twice.
Yeah, right.
And then I actually ran this experiment in my company. I didn't have the bot at that point. What we did was just every day at 8 p.m. commit a markdown file to a GitHub repo of what you learned, what are the next steps, what are the action items, right? And with that for some time, I realized it's a lot of effort documenting it. Can I create some, it's turning a good habit, it's nice to read it, it's much better than stand-up. Trust me, like stand-ups were a pain. This was much better. I feel if you just alert a few times, create that gamification, it works. The other part is something like 100 days of, like how 100 days of coding was there by GitHub. Have a green star or map or somewhere to start incentivizing you to just put the first 10 days and then continue on top of that. I'll have to experiment. I don't have a perfect idea of what will work or not, but I know there are enough experiments which I can run and try it out to make this happen.
Yeah. I would say I strongly agree with you that it's too noisy to be something automated.
Yeah.
And what's interesting
I mean,
about
but the true value is really like in like some kind of an invisible UI, or where I don't imagine if I don't ever have to write anything, do anything, and I have a TIL at the end of the day.
Sure.
Isn't that more
depends on what you
insane?
want to do it. So the thing with the reason that what he's saying is so important is that today I learned is about the difference between your knowledge today and your knowledge in the past. And so this invisible thing needs to know not just what you've seen, but what you know. You understand?
Or rather, what you think about it. Right?
Yeah. Like it needs to know what you believe as well. Yeah. And the thing with Simon Wilson's TAL is it's actually useful to me because the diff between what he knows and what he learns is a very different, like very specific stream of knowledge, and that he thinks is important enough to write down, I guess, than the like blast of everything that he sees on a daily basis compared to what he's seen in the past.
I think we're already having information overload. I don't think I want to continue that. During my day, if I was seeing 12 websites and 2 were useful, I will let 2 carried over a year itself with a lot of links. I don't want to explode that further. I would want to have as much filtered and focused content as possible over time for me. I don't think we're in the age where information excess is like we're not in shortage of information. For sure.
Cool.
Thank you. And it was really fun working with Esther. I just met her today,
Yeah,
but
she's so cool. Dive into that. Okay. Up is autograph. Taking conversation output and turning it into a graph. On deck is thought stream. Have a thought and stream.
Okay, so we have been talking a lot today about different ways that we can take some information and structure in some way that is useful for us in the future. And knowledge graphs have come up a number of times. And so what we wanted to do is take a unstructured data. In our case, we were focusing on conversations, but you can imagine this being any set of data, and with a very minimal amount of pre-configuration, basically talking about the kind of entities that you think are important, which we do believe is an important kind of perspective to provide on the document class, though it could be like pretty general for conversations. We want to be able to automatically extract a knowledge graph that reflects that in both a way that can improve kind of efficiency of later retrieval, but also give a human readable kind of artifact that reflects the conversation and be visualized in a knowledge system like Obsidian. So we built off of work that Sam had already been building on. And so the general pipeline is that you take a document, you extract a number of topics from it, and each of those topics then is associated with a summary that is basically a projection of the conversation from the view of that topic. And within those summaries, you can then do entity extraction, and we do a number of rounds of entity extraction based on the ones that you configure. So, for instance, like people or personas or ideas, and these entities are essentially the nodes of the graph. And then once you identify and extract those entities, you want to kind of merge that with the previous knowledge graph. So one thing that has proven like a bit of a challenge is, you know, if you have very close ideas that have been talked about in this conversation, ideally you're not creating new nodes. You want them to be the same, but that node gets updated over time as it is informed by additional conversations. So one way that you can think about that is an idea that you've been mulling over, for instance, you know, AI tools for thought, you know, that's an idea certainly in like Jeremy's head that he's been like thinking over for a while. You know, there are many sub groups of it, but that node, AI tools for thought, should be updated, you know, every conversation he has to reflect like, what is my kind of view of that now? And each of those pieces can be kind of modularized, like exactly how you do that update. You can imagine different ways, ones that kind of prioritize recency more, ones that maintain a long history. We didn't really get into that. And as a caveat, the end-to-end, unfortunately, is not working yet. We're very close to being able to like basically upload a document and get the knowledge graph out, and hopefully maybe one day it will be an Obsidian plugin. So we used conversations from the AI Salon. It's a little plug for the AI Salon, but basically there are 2.5 hour long conversations on some topic like neurotechnology. We took ones on relationships, and there was a bit of processing that I've done before to kind of tidy them up slightly and anonymize them, but other than that, the rest is in code. Because we don't have the end-to-end, we can go through the code in a bit. I'm going to show you an example of what these pieces look like. So here is a bit of a graph. The original document is here, and these things were, you know, created by the prompts that we have. Oh, sure, go for it. Oh, perfect. And can I remove this? And, oh, this one. Sorry, I'm not an Obsidian user. So here we see the impact on society. This is the top level document. So we get this summary, but at the bottom of it, we have the derived topics, which are other summaries in this world. And so the one that I've built out here is this AI and human connection. If we go to that, we get now the summary of the document from the perspective of this like topic that was derived, AI and human connection. Get an overall summary, some unexpected insights, disagreements that came up in regards to that area, and kind of the speakers and the kind of persona of the speakers that were interacting with this. And each of these you can imagine becoming entities. And here we have the derived idea entities, which then you can see coming off here. And none of these actually have any information associated with them. And so basically that's the demo. The goal is that each of these pieces should be something that is actually interesting and meaningful to you to read through. But over time, you can also imagine that we would have multiple ones of these conversations. Oh yeah, I'll go back to this and try and close this, which I can't do. So, you know, basically Obsidian has its there's open to visualizations here. For instance, impact on society is a different kind of entity than AI and self-awareness, which is an idea, and the other topics. But this is a conversation. This topic, while it came up in this conversation, might come up in other conversations. So over time, you'll end up having large nodes, basically hubs, if that conversation has been talked about many different times. Similarly, you might have certain people in your orbit or certain personas. In San Francisco, there are like the EAC persona, you can imagine, or the Doomer, or the whatever, you know, like people like that seem to co-occur with certain kinds of ideas. And so anyway, very soon we'll be able to upload transcripts, documents, and just get this and then have it in Obsidian and people can explore it. And that's the demo. Anything you two want to add on?
Yeah. I can maybe do like a
Oh yeah, want to go through the code?
Yeah, just like, I don't know, why not?
Yeah.
So, I'll maybe hop in the index. Someone just commented out. All right, so there's like this pipeline that we've built basically. First we get like our inputs. So right now we just pick a particular file. We generate topics. So whatever file, we use LLM to identify what topics are discussed. And then for each topic, we generate summaries. And then for each summary, we get the entities. So the concepts, like you mentioned. And then from the entities, we update existing entities
and create new entities. So if there's like already a node that exists, we just update it. That way we keep the old data and then we update it with what's relevant. And kind of going through this step, it just kind of seems like you're just doing a bunch of stuff, but at the end of this pipeline, you can look at the connections and you have the full knowledge graph. So this is like,
I should also say that what's kind of nice, I hadn't used Obsidian before, but not only do you have this full knowledge graph, but you have a bunch of markdown files. Like the files themselves are available to you. So like Obsidian makes that a useful, visualization, but I really like how this kind of is, there's no walled garden here. It's extensible.
Yeah, and super open. So some of the use cases were like, even for like a company, if you're recording all your meetings, you can also run it through this pipeline and actually have a knowledge graph and say, hey, this person is responsible for X, Y, and Z items. Or if you like, I don't know, have therapy sessions and recording them, you can actually build a knowledge graph of the things you're discussing. So it's really super open, and this pipeline kind of is like a nice way to do this, and useful for RAG as well.
Yeah.
So you can get things that are adjacent to each other.
And Sri looked through some of the kind of plugins in the Obsidian database. Of course, a knowledge graph is just the beginning of how you can actually use the knowledge. So once you have this knowledge graph, some of the other things we've heard, for instance, like finding similar notes that you've brought up before, come out not just from the ontology itself, but from the graphs allow you through kind of centrality metrics or closeness metrics to get different distance metrics. So embeddings is definitely one way of doing this, but of course here we've applied like the more costly structure that comes from repeated LLM calls, which allows us to hopefully get a more kind of meaningful relationship that is sometimes missed by embedding databases. Anyway, cool.
I have a question. So, knowledge graph, according to you, like, does it represent the facts of whatever the conversation, or like?
So the entities of the conversation are up to you. So for instance, for the AI salon, which is a conversation between like 15 people on AI and some topic, the entities that are meaningful, at least to me, are like the ideas that were brought up, not whether they were facts or but just what were the topics of conversation. And disagreements are important entities for me.
So so if there's conflicting information, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you represent that in the graph?
So right now we haven't set up anything that reflects complexity of interactions. Like we're just saying like I think Obsidian just has mutual tags. They're not saying like this disagrees with this or this. So the way we're representing disagreements are themselves as a node. Like a disagreement is a kind of entity, this kind of thing, rather than this idea disagrees with this idea.
Yeah, and you can create like clusters of topics or nodes, and then you can label it like separately. Oh, this is like this is the argument going towards this direction, that direction.
And there are like extensions so that you can like have edges that mean different things. So like you can have like weighted edges and say, hey, these two things are like, I don't know, similar, dissimilar in whatever dimension. So
yeah, and then are you like weighing anything at all? Like, I mean, not right now, but like, do you think that is of some value? Like, if
like weighted edges?
Yeah, like frequency of like occurrence, or not even frequency. I don't know if that's even the right.
Absolutely. We talked about at the beginning, like, a bunch of topics aren't just related to each other, for instance, by virtue of co-occurring within a conversation. They have semantic relationships. They should have relationships between themselves. Right now, this is only being created as a distillation of the document itself. But the next step, which is basically some analysis on the knowledge graph itself or on different kinds of entities, could apply other things like a vector embedding or clustering, and you can then say like, these are actually related, and they're related by the strength of this other metric. So part of what we were limited here was both wanting to get this done, obviously, but also just kind of respecting the base use of this particular tool, which creates as primary just like co-occurrence tags. topics as its relationships.
And one like idea here is like if you have a like let's say one sentence description for each node, you can have like the cosine similarity between descriptions as like a weight. So you could say, oh, these two things are actually really close, in like embedding space, for example. So.
So, okay. I guess a question about conversation. So in my mind, time is really essential to understanding a conversation, and ordering is also really important. And this knowledge graph destroys, as far as I can tell, all evidence of time and ordering, and that feels really tragic to me. I don't have an answer because it seems like the obvious answer is like, make it linear, but that's boring in a lot of ways. What do you think should be done with time in an ideal world?
I feel like the beats of a conversation are really important. Like the watching, and it's just interesting to kind of as a reader. Like it's not just to see the topics or whatever. The trajectory is relevant. So this is one of the reasons when I made like blog posts from these, I actually didn't go this route because the LLM with it all in context sometimes had a better sense of that. I don't know how to do this with knowledge graphs. We did talk for a moment about like, should we be chunking these topics, this topic as we go along to preserve some sense and have some kind of ordering. I don't know how that reflects knowledge graphs. I'll say that Sam had in mind the idea of either the enterprise idea or like, let's take you and thinking about tools for thought. In one sense, it might be nice to just have a sense of all of your, updated feelings about tools for thought, but you're missing one aspect, which is the how those ideas came to be, which maybe we could have like versions of these. You can imagine knowledge graph, like an evolving knowledge graph over time. I don't know.
Yeah. And I kind of want to see the outline of the conversation. So one structure might look like you have a topic, and the topic has all of these sort of subtopics or relevant pieces in it. And then there's an overall change in topic, which is demarcated by the LLM. And then the next bit of conversation is about something different. So if like we were recording this conversation, like each presentation would be a different high level like transition. But within that would be, discussion of subtopics.
Yeah, I forget. I think it was Simon. I think his name was for the constant transcribing. And then if something like this is kind of done, and you're like, oh, a new topic, a new entity has been identified. That's something that you could then imagine being brought back in as causing some change in how it interacts with you.
Yeah, but there are like totally valid use cases where you really wouldn't want the time because you want something that's like stateless or whatever, right? Like it's independent, and you just want a representation of all the knowledge in that piece of conversation.
The time is still information though. Like you might want to know the trajectory just for the sake of it. It's also it's a closeness. Like there's something not just like in semantics similar, but in the perspective of that conversation, for some reason you moved from topic A to topic C. Like something is there. And so like at least that temporal dimension, we aren't currently capturing in any way.
We have it in the metadata, and you can kind of see it if we like animate this. You can see as they're created, like the timestamp is there, but it's like compressed, right? So there may be like ways to view, like there's so much metadata associated with each of these nodes. There may be like lenses you could use to like view the graph. So.
But a final thought might be that time is the path from similarity to relevance.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
So there is this degeneracy in similarity, where often just because things are similar doesn't mean that it captures every aspect of relatedness between those things. And what you care about in a lot of cases is relevance. So Google's interested in relevance search more than in similarity search, because when you do a search query, you want to pull up all the relevant information, not the information that's similar to your query. And time is one easy heuristic to ascertain what is relevant to something else, even if they're clearly dissimilar or if they occur on the surface to be dissimilar.
It also gives you I know we're out of time, but it gives you some sense of the underlying topic of discussion, because like if you went on a seeming non sequitur, it's clearly not a non sequitur. Like someone had something prompted
Some deeper
them to
reasons.
move from one to the other,
Yeah.
and so that is information again about like what are we really talking about here, and allowing you to dive deeper. Anyway, thanks everyone. Working with you.
Okay. That is autograph.
Autograph. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Sam brought I didn't work for Obsidian, but that was really great.
Yeah, can you guys publish code, please? Like, I'd like to.
What? The code was is in the presentation. That was.
Okay.
Would you like me to post the
Can you,
GitHub?
like, post the GitHub?
Yeah, I'm happy
Yeah,
to do that.
please.
Yeah, we're hoping to get it done,
I would love to.
complete soon.
Okay, so first of all, on conversation during presentations, if you are going to talk, please go talk downstairs. It's fine. Please talk downstairs. ThoughtStream is up. Please give ThoughtStream your undivided attention. WebSim AI plugins is on deck.
You guys have a hardware demo, right?
I wish. No. So, I think it's not getting connected. Yeah. Alright. So this is what we're planning to do. Essentially, for the sake of today's hackathon, we took for granted that brain reading already exists, and that we can pick up your thoughts, ideas, judgment, memories, and do things out in the world. Alright. So basically, we spent the hackathon figuring out where we are in doing things out in the world, given that you have some thought. So this is essentially the demo that I wanted to get to. Essentially, I get a thought stream, a stream of thoughts, and based on that, figure out what things I want to do. So I want to send, let's say, my girlfriend flowers tomorrow. It would figure out who that person is, what we're sending, when we're sending, what is the skill that is required. And the second thought that I had, so this is a thought that I literally had yesterday. I was building some data room for someone who was on a short deadline, and I had lost my keys. All right, and my roommate had gone. I had to go out, and somehow I had to return back home. I didn't know who had my keys from the day before. So what if I had this agent which would figure out who all I visited yesterday from my calendar, pings everyone, do you have my keys? And if it figures out, well, one person has my keys, it schedules a pickup. So for this hackathon, we wanted to see, is there any AI agent that we can use to basically execute this task, right? So that's what we did. Spoiler, there's none, but we made some progress. This is from Open Interpreter 01. We're using it off the shelf, and we added some skills to it.
Mic drop.
Okay, it should work. It's not working for a reason, but
Codex.
oh, come on. Classic. Do you have your API keys?
I think I do.
Yeah.
Just check your Slack.
If you wanna
Hit.
cut
This is
the,
being recorded,
Yeah,
right?
one.
yeah, you might wanna cut the.
I'll do it.
Yeah, we'll kill the
We'll add it
keys
to it.
before you get to it.
Okay.
Has anybody else played with Open Interpreter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a glorious idea. Very hard to pull off.
Yeah. It was the first time playing with it too.
Alright, let's hope it works this time. Mm.
In this, use your hand.
Yeah, I think you just need the API key. You don't need like the variable name.
Cool. Sorry. Sorry.
Hi, how can I help you?
I think I left my keys at someone's home yesterday when I was meeting them. Can you go to my calendar and see who all I was meeting yesterday? Again. I'll have to do it again. I think
We did a lot of verbal prompting today.
yeah, if you're down in the basement, you would like just see me.
Yeah, we know.
So it's-
It was nice entertainment for us, by the way.
Have you sourced the new API key?
Hi, I think I left my keys yesterday. Can you look at my calendar and let me know who I met yesterday so I can ping them?
Okay, so I can bring them.
I'll retrieve the details of the meetings you had yesterday from your calendar so you can see who you met with. Let's start by querying your calendar events for yesterday. It seems like I made an error in retrieving the calendar events.
Classic. So it works. So it doesn't work the first time.
I'll try again
And it figures
fetch
out.
the events from yesterday properly this time.
Don't
I
mess
have
them up.
successfully retrieved the events from your calendar for yesterday.
Alright, I think there's some issue this time, but generally it figures out.
Let me list the details of these events, including the attendees, which might help you locate your keys.
I'm gonna pause it, but
I have successfully retrieved the events.
yeah. So that was a state, but anyway. So what it does essentially is it picks out it pretty reliably, 80% of the times picks out the events that you had on your calendar. It picks out the title, the person that you're meeting, and the location. That's very, very simple. What we wanted after that was figure out if I'm meeting a friend or if I'm meeting a colleague. If I'm meeting a friend, then ping them on Telegram. If I'm meeting a colleague, then ping them on Slack, and then send a message. Hey, do you have my keys? So that's also something that it can do reliably. But the problem is the differentiation between Telegram and Slack, and then maintaining whether tea or coffee relates to friend, and then running app script correctly every single time is too many things that it has to do. And it starts fucking up. So it will do 2 out of these 3 things correct, and it will go wrong on any one of those 3 things. So that's basically the problem that we face right now, and we tried solving it. So essentially how we're modeling the problem is that if you have too many tasks, with every iteration, the details essentially do not stay intact of the instruction that you're giving. So that's the first thing. We wanted to demo a Slack ping that works generally. So what we're trying to solve with now is we're using Crew AI, along with that is hooked with Open Interpreter. So Crew AI essentially has an executive agent and a few agents for communication, for operations, and it can spawn new agents. So the executive agent essentially models the entire problem. You want to find keys, you want to see who you met, you want to check with each one of them if they have the keys, ping them on Telegram or Slack. That's a skill that you have to give, because once you're using it enough, you can do it. And then Crew AI ensures that every single time it goes off rails, it can go back. There's one problem. Crew AI is good at making sure the details are met, but it's not really good at intelligence or planning. So it would do silly things like you want to say, hey, send this person a message, or send this person a message, say hi, and it would send like a message instead of hi. Alright. So it would not be able to fill in all the details for which comes from essentially the intelligence engine, but it would ensure that the message is sent or the calendar events are picked up. So we have a demo for Crew AI as well. We couldn't complete this whole thing, but we do have a demo with both the things working at least, not working reliably. So I hope maybe we can participate in some other hackathon and get that done. But yeah, he'll probably demo the Crew AI thing.
The cool thing we figured was we were able to integrate Crew with Open Interpreter. Open Interpreter has a Python package which you can just add in as a tool to Crew. The problem that Rahul just mentioned, that there are too many things that the agent had to do. We tried to break it down by giving it to multiple agents, right? So I'll just run. So, oops, sorry. Let me try again. So I'll try the same prompt. I lost my keys yesterday. And this is, I'm telling it to my executive assistant, let's say. Let me find them. Are there any specific people you want to include? So it can be multiple people. Let me just do it with Rahul. You can like change the tone. So let's keep it casual for now. So you'll see there's a executive assistant at the top who'll start thinking. So as you guys might know, Crew uses the React thought pattern. Okay, it is doing this automatically. It went to my Slack, and ideally it should message.
There's a history of things working out,
and your message goes here is also one of. Okay, so it just happened. So this was basically Crew working, and I can quickly show how it works because that is the interesting thing. So these are your agents. We figured the backstory, etc., is very important. I guess you guys have played with Crew already. I want to show the tools bit. So over here, so this doesn't stop. So the terminal is still going on and it keeps recursively talking to people. So I'll just stop it for now. But what you see here is I can just import interpreter, set up my model, and then I can in text say what the tool should do. So it says open Slack by using Spotlight commands. So it's actually doing command space, writing Slack, search for the user by hitting command K. The user name should be, right now I've hard-coded Rahul, search by that name, and when you find the user, hit enter, and then you enter that message, whatever you have been told by the other agent. So that's essentially how the tools work over here, and everything else is controlled by how agents, tasks, etc. communicate with each other. So that's a bit about the code base as well. Any questions?
We're like 30% here. There's like so much more to do. After that, it should schedule a pickup and inform both the people, hey, the pickup car has reached your place. Just give the key or take the key. So essentially, if you lose the key and if you're like on a deadline, it would get the keys back to you.
In fact, we were trying to use multi-on. I know Div stays here. We're trying to use multi-on to actually go to uber.com, set the pickup location, order location, and try to essentially automate all of that. And we were actually planning to set up an Uber right now at demo today, but there were like challenges with automating authentication when you're doing browser actions. So that those were the kind of challenges we were getting into.
All of that, and you still have physical keys.
No, I lost my keys and I was logged out the entire night yesterday. So I was too obsessed. Should not happen again.
They're just looking for API keys.
Yeah, we should have clarified.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Devon is on that.
Hello, hello. I guess we can jump straight into it. So who here is a fan of recursive self-improvement? Let's go. Okay, so
They say he's a dangerous man.
so our goal is recursive self-improvement, but by the community. So instead of having an LLM develop WebSim, we're going to have the community build WebSim for WebSim. And we're going to do that via WebSim plugins. So just to demonstrate, let's just show, so a WebSim plugin is basically a, well, okay. Let's go, let's look at the original one. So this is the original WebSim, and then you can basically overlay any WebSim creation on top of your base WebSim, and basically compose WebSims together. So let me just show you how this one's created. Yeah, thank you.
Is Remix just like inject the original one into the prompt, or like?
All it does is it stacks the plugin page. It just overlays it on top of the base page. You can see here. I tell it to add a script tag that adds a CSS transform that makes like the body a slowly rotating cube. So it's just a page that contains nothing but that script tag. So you're basically injecting scripts onto the page. So yeah, that is one plugin. Let me just show you some more plugins. Oh, this one's fun. So let's go back to, where's Windows 98? So this one, now there's like an orbiting logo on top of the WebSim, on top of the cursor. And plugins can stack, so, oh, let's add the color picker. So, Rob and Rachel made this. So now, yeah, we're going to chain these plugins.
What?
So yeah, the color picker, now you can pick the different colors. So now we can change the colors of the WebSim logo. So let's make blue, I don't know, yeah. So, did that work? Whoa, something happened. Yeah, so now the start menu things, changing color. WebSim things, changing color.
Check out some of the links that I have.
Oh yeah, let's check that one. Yeah, just more fun with the color picker. Change that color. So you can imagine just like having a collection of these integrating in your creation experiences, right? So we made this in one day. We think our community, they can just beef up their own WebSim developer experience with, by creating their own plugins. What is this one? Oh yeah, more color picker fun.
Okay, I mean, now that plugins exist, can like the WebSim style be like one of many options?
Yeah, so right now this is all just overlaying at runtime. But you can imagine plugins that actually change the system prompt, for example, and effect generation. On that note, let me show you the coolest plugin that we have. Which is a fully functional editor that lets you take any page and edit it. So let's do Windows 98. So yeah, a little backstory with this one. Actually, let's go straight into this one. I can take you through how we created this one. So this is actually co-created with one of our Supercracked users. His name is Vorpal Strikes. Actually, a bunch of people on Twitter, they just like jammed this together.
Three users users just were jamming on each other's stuff and came up with this.
So yeah, this is the original one. I mean, here's this guy Vorpal. He was just like, oh, why don't we just like throw Monaco at WebSim and see what happens? And yeah, this is like fully kind of editable, right? A live coding interface. So I was just like, okay, how can we turn this into something that can actually edit WebSim itself? So here's the sort of plugin that we built out for this hackathon, like a WebSim API that lets you just save whatever. Basically, like call JavaScript to save your WebSim and navigate to WebSims that you've saved. And yeah, so let's just see this in practice. Where's Windows 98? Here we go. So let's change. Okay, we can change the background color. Let's do that. Let's maximize that. Let's make this like bright pink. Okay, that's not that bright. Anyways.
You could add like an iframe to another page.
And let's change like a.
I'm searching for the book 0 to 1 on Amazon.
Internet Explorer. Let's add some R's. Okay. Yeah. So now I hit save, and I actually have a saved WebSim, right? So now anybody can go to this. Go to this link. I'm just going to incognito. Oops. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, WebSim, editing WebSim and WebSim, and this is just the start.
How do you bypass the login requirement in Incognito?
You can view any page in Incognito. So you don't need to be logged in to view a page. You need to be logged in to generate though.
Yeah. So the plugin's real time in that it will modify the not the generative process of the page, but like the current HTML.
Yeah, it's just like overlaid on top. But you can imagine plugins that actually do generation.
Yeah, to like change the styling for a page to more modern, you might just have like that be like a button you press.
And do the plugins only add HTML and CSS?
You can have a plugin that takes away, right? You have a script, you inject a script tag that like deletes document.body, for example. That's actually what we do with the WebSim editor.
Sure.
Are you planning to make this like marketplace of plugins that people can just explore, browse, use?
Yeah. I mean, I think right now everything is going to be free, right? Kind of just cultivate this open source ecosystem, and kind of see from there.
How do you make sure that the web pages render every single time? Like, is there no error in the code generation?
Oh, you just try again and again until there are no errors. Yeah. I mean, actually, that was the motivating factor why we built the WebSim editor, because you can actually edit the plugins in the WebSim editor, the WebSim tools editor. Yeah. So if there are any if your code is slightly broken, you can just manually go in the editor and fix things up.
Which model do you guys use?
We use Anthropic Opus.
And Sonnet.
And Sonnet, yeah.
And Haiku even. Honestly, all of them, it's pretty incredible how infrequent it is that they create incomplete pages. You know, they don't always work exactly how you predict them to, and you might need to regenerate them a couple times, but for the most part, they do a good job.
WebSim plugins.
Yep.
Okay, Dev on is up. Please put Dev into shame.
Dev on.
On deck, we have descriptive object search on video.
So I'll just show the demo. This is actually just made this recently. So just put this out like just yesterday, pretty much. And no, this particular text. So what we're doing here is like let me just start from again. So we built this like a software developer agent using Markdown. And what it is doing is it can sort of mimic a human. So it's able to like click and type and update an ID. So in this case, we have an editor. We are running a browser. We have a scratchpad, and then the agent is able to go and run these commands. So here we've told it like benchmark the complexity API speed, and then it's going to Replit, and it's setting up Replit IDE real time. So it starts going and like doing this. And then there's a second agent that's actually going to the perplexity documentation and reading the documentation and seeing like what are the commands that it can use to invoke the API. And then when the second agent is done, it takes information, puts it in the scratchpad. And then this scratchpad is shared with the first agent. So the first agent can see this, write the code, and then run it in this case. So there's like 3 agents running here in this case. And then you can actually check if the code is working or not. So yeah, so it actually works. So it's really fun. Yeah, so this was just a quick hack we did, but just shows what's possible with computer interaction-based agents, because you can just make pretty much anything that a human can do. You can imagine like a virtual agent that mimics a human can do, theoretically. So you don't have to like create a lot of like different abstractions. You can just like use existing things and just if you have really good keyboard and mouse control, it just unlocks a lot of capabilities. So that was Devon. You can actually play with it. So we have a Hugging Face page. You can just go and try it out and you just download the Meltdown extension and then clone the repo and pretty much good to go. So yeah, so if you want to try this out, you can play with this and see how this compares to Devon. Cool. Okay.
Is it hard-coded to use Replit?
No, it can use pretty much any ID. So we know we have tried Google Colab before, so it's actually pretty good at writing Google Colab code. I'm pretty sure it can also use VS Code Live in the browser. So I think it pretty much can use most IDs as long as it's like running on a URL on the web.
Okay, and it decides which one to use based on the prompt?
Yeah, it can. Yeah. So you can just tell it like I want you to use this ID. Or you can also hard code it. Like it's like if you suppose you have different agents, you can have like one agent that's just like has like a prompt which is like you are like a coding agent that's supposed to use Replit or whatever, like writing code based on the user command, and then it knows like okay, it should go and operate Replit terminal instead of like something different. But I think you can just like set up like a very simple prompting for different things.
Can Devon use Devon?
That's a good one actually. I don't have access to Devon, but if I had, that would be actually really interesting to try. Yeah. Totally. Cool. Okay, so yes, feel free to play with that. You just need to go and create like a API key with us, and then you're good to go. Sounds good.
Okay. Descriptive object search on video, you're up. And last but not least, impact scope. You're on that.
Hey, hi everyone. First off, thank you to AGI House for hosting this. It was fun. So what I've built here is a descriptive object search for video. So the goal is to be able to search objects in a video. We can do that in images and also in videos, but in traditional CNN models, right? So how do you get to find an object and know where it is in the video? You can only find the objects in the video, but you don't know where they are, right? So this is an effort to do that. and the inspiration is Liam Bolling. So has anyone seen this video? So this is a video where he inputs a video and asks and prompts to search key for him. So, and it is able to identify the key as well as describe where it is in the video, right? So it's easier to go and pick it up, right? So yeah, so I'm trying to do this. This is what I'm trying to replicate. I'm trying to replicate the results here. I don't have the facilities of Google, but I gave my best shot. So yeah, so this is the architecture that I built today. So what I essentially do is you give me a video, I convert it into frames, and the frames, two things happen to the frames. First thing is I detect objects in a frame, and then I embed the frames, and then I combine them to make an embedding. So I have the ID of the frame, I have the embedding of the frame, and also metadata. Metadata here being the objects of the frame in the frame. Then I have a JSON store here. All of this is local. It's not been pushed to any cloud-based thing yet. So once I have the JSON store, I take a text input, and two things happen to the text input. I convert it into embeddings, and I get the object of the sentence. Say, where's my backpack? Where are my keys? Where's my car? So I try to get the object of the sentence, which would be backpack, keys, and car respectively. So once I have them, I filter the JSON store using the object of the video through the metadata search and get the only relevant embeddings. So once I have those embeddings, now I have the embeddings of the frames, I have the embeddings of the text. So it's a similarity search again. So once I do a similarity search, I get the frame in which the object is present, and the next step would be to describe where the object is, right? So that is a part that I'm lacking here in this demo, but I'd love to give a demo of the system. Okay. Okay, gently, it doesn't take this long. Now, before I do that, let me show you the video that I have for it. So this is the video that I have. So I'll try to find objects in the video. Yes, so it found my backpack, right? So it is not generating a description yet, but that would be something for the future. Let's say
Can you read out the query? You can see.
Oh, okay. The query is, I think I lost my cup. Can you find it? Yes, it's transparent, so you're not able to see it. It's one of the cups that you're putting water in, so it's transparent. So this is the idea. So yes, so this is the whole architecture that I built today. But all of this is a small part of a bigger project that I'm working on. This is my demo for the hackathon, but I just want to show what it is a bigger part of. So this is a website that I maintain. These are all the projects that I do. So this is image search and this is video search. I have two semantic searches. So the project can go as a part of this to improve the search results. So if you see here, for example, if I say so I get some inconsistent results. The first 4-5 results are very good, but after that you get a desert. A desert is a woman is not a desert, and a woman is not a man, right? So how do you improve this? So the tool that I built today can go as a larger part of this, as well as the video search, right? So there are 2 applications to it. Either I am successful in replicating the results of this. If not, they go as part of my bigger project. So this is my demo for today, and these are my contacts. Thank you.
Did you present this at Stanford the other day?
No.
Oh, I see.
Did someone else build it?
I mean, somebody, presented a very similar project.
Okay.
It's almost like he's also using Clip. Also
Okay.
like, trying to search something given a text input.
I see. Okay.
I have a question. So for a video, like how many frames do you are you like generating like some sort of a state for each frame, or like with some frequency? Like how are you exactly doing that? Like if I had to search for something, like, where is it in the video?
Okay. Yes. I take the input video. I break them down into frames.
So like what's the frequency at which?
Yeah. Right now I'm taking just 10 frames.
Okay.
Just 10 FPS for now, for this demo purpose. And even the video is I've just taken one video. So ideally I'd be able to take any video that the user gives and break it down. So I can increase the accuracy by breaking down into more number of frames, and maybe adding more metadata to it, not just the objects, maybe even the description, or maybe the localization details of the objects in the frame, right? So those can also be added as metadata to improve the search. So
You
those
were
are
using a local model for that, right?
sorry.
You were using a local model for that, or were you using OpenAI's for actually generating like what's in the frame, like the description?
I'm using only DETR by Facebook only for object detection. Everything else is OpenAI. So to embed, I used OpenAI's Clip to get both the text and the frame embeddings, and then to get the object in a sentence, I'm using OpenAI again, GPT 3.5 Turbo. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, nice.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. That was descriptive object search on video. Last but not least, we have impact scope. Nice of you.
The issue.
So today I'm going to be presenting Impact Scope, and we're going to be exploring the ripple effects of our way of being. It's basically a framework to explore how our actions create ripple effects across every person and every area of our lives, and see how we can be intentional and conscious about how we make decisions when we are aware of what the impact may be on ourselves and other people, and what we would be endorsing in our society. this is basically what it looks like. The majority of the time during this hackathon, I mainly just learned how to code in React, and then learned how to code in React Flow, and built this UI. And I called OpenAI's API to try and create like predictive, like to create predictions of like positive and negative impact between the internal realm, the interpersonal realm, collective, and societal. And currently, I cannot. We could try making a demo, but there was something happened, something broke with the API, and it like kind of generates the positive impact. But yeah,
So what are we looking at? Like, what is the knowledge gap?
So basically, you just input an action or behavior or just a pattern that you want to explore the impact of, and then it divides it into the different realms of being. And so it divides it by the internal, where you explore like what are the biases that are that are in connection with you taking this action. What is the impact like that you have within yourself, within other people? And then the interpersonal is like, how do people perceive you when you act this way? Like, what are the negative implications of it? What are the positive ones? In the collective, it's what are you endorsing? What kind of patterns are you actually promoting in community, whether it's negative or positive? And then in a societal way, you're exploring how it may impact culture, and it may impact like every area of our collective living. And an example that I used was building an NFT gambling app. And during the hackathon, we basically, like, this person over there helped me build this thing, this example with WebSim. And we used the action of posting a TikTok gossip video about the Kendrick and Drake beef of late. And it basically shows kind of what I was trying to do, where it could address what the impact is on, the second order effects of these things. And any questions? Yeah.
So it doesn't know that much about, let's say, your interpersonal life. So is your hope that it is basically a question asker to you to explore?
Actually, it's my model of humans is that we don't have the bandwidth to be able to see so far into the possibilities of our actions. And using AI to create predictions of that actually makes it easier for us to like hold it all in our brains. So
then a follow-up question. So you're saying that its goal is not to ask me questions, but to show me paths of impact, right?
Yeah.
So there's like one way that you could show, kind of like the Monte Carlo tree, or like there's a vast range of different outcomes, and here's some distribution. And then there's this other kind of route that I think was proposed by military people back in the 50s or something, which is just called scenario planning. Like, let's articulate a few different scenarios, and they might not be predictive, but they allow you to consider possible futures.
Yeah, and make an informed and conscious decision.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's mainly the point. Ideally, what I would like is for it to generate like impact of the impact of the impact, and you're able to like generate, like regenerate or edit the nodes, and like make it like a network where like anyone can add a new data point of an action, and you can see the impact that it can have. The impact that I see it having is that it might actually produce like negative or like non-accurate representations of the impact, because people have the freedom to just put anything that they would like. So yeah.
So you see this as like some sort of simulation of like, you know, your thought or whatever, and then like what happens.
Yeah.
And then this, you see like an application of this in like any sort of like business or?
I actually see it as a framework that could be applied in the process of product development, because right now, like, we have so many ideas and we want to build like so many cool, innovative solutions to different problems. And how I model like startup developers is like they're very in love with the idea, but they're kind of short-sighted in what the impact can be. Like a perfect example would be Facebook. So like being able to add this to the framework of building a business would be great, because you'll be able to see what is possible.
Or even like planned media campaigns, or you know,
That
that's
too.
like pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats. Okay, congrats to all of our presenters. Congrats to you all. Let's hear it. So let's give our judge 5 to 10 minutes to decide who the winners will be. So do hang around for final judgments. Until then, feel free to converse amongst yourselves about your exciting projects. Very cool. I rerun that with a more generic prompt. Just be a great researcher and get kind of ready for it. It's prediction task. So. Oh, ask me what you do, but I guess I'm happy to put you on everything that's not my project. Yeah, exactly. Typically, like some combination of productivity, execution quality, potential commercial. I guess an AF for that context is like whether it's aligned but this project is just creating whereas like knowledge generation is very yeah, let me know. Cool. So,
yeah, like how to write off the URL and all that.
Last year, if it's so useless, I learned stack. But yeah, I'm all on this inspiration. This feature yeah, actually, I covered it. Which I did not realize. This actually shows that I'm well, maybe there's
so one day you're like yes to all of them, and then the other days you're like more selective.
Yeah, it seems like it matters which day
this improves your.
Sure. Yeah, I should be exactly. I should, when I pick, make sure that I pick certain capabilities. And then this is the precision curve for predicting a number of different things. Based on probably based on that. But these are more interesting to ask my opinion. And then I tried to include them the inclusion.
It's like putting in some random paragraph instead of like.
So this is the part.
I saw that question they were asking. I don't know if you guys did hear me, but they were saying, what if I want, like, are you guys gonna build like a, like a UI interface so that it's not all just uploaded? Yeah. I guess they're thinking of like a B2B. Give this product to research
I just have to figure out how to
or is this